Welcome to the It All Asterisk podcast, hosted by me, Sarah, with Brandee and Jena, a show where we explore whether or not you can actually have and do it all. We dive into the power of embracing the asterisks of life as a leader, mom, wife, and friend by redefining what it really means to have and do it all. Every week, we untangle real-life conundrums, laugh at the absurdities, and share insights on how to discover what you really want and do what you really love. Hi, everybody. Hey. Welcome to the It All Asterisk podcast. I'm super, super excited for our conversation today. It's a little bit different. And what I have done is I've taken 10 or so life sayings, adages, the things you're going to see cross-stitched on a pillow or on a wall hanging. They're going to show up on posters in your Instagram feed. And they're these sayings that seem universal, but many times I find myself wanting to stick an asterisk in them. And it made me think, of course, asterisks aren't always bad. You know, it's not always that they're limiting us. Sometimes they're actually the thing that lets us realize I'm doing A-okay. I am living really well. I'm loving the people in my life really well. So it allows us to hit pause when we stick an asterisk in some of this stuff, to hit pause and see how our views are similar or different to broader society, and just to say what someone else might be professing is truth does not have to be truth for me. So what we're going to do today is I am going to share these different adages, and then each of us is going to take a turn and say, would you put an asterisk in this? How large of an asterisk? Are you going to cover it up with asterisks? It's kind of like when I find myself saying, yeah, but I don't know. Yeah. Is it going to get a yeah, but? Okay. So are you ladies ready to dig in?
Yeah.
Super. I'm so intrigued. I feel like I'm on a game show.
I feel like we should have buttons like asterisks. 3 asterisks. Okay. And how many times can we say the word asterisk in this episode? That might be another thing. First one, round 1, follow your dreams. Ooh. Follow your dreams.
I think that's a good one. I don't think there's an asterisk with that. I feel like people should follow their dreams.
I'm asterisking all over that.
You are? Why?
Yeah. I want everyone to follow their dream as well, really. I think the asterisk comes for me in terms of, what does that mean? Does follow your dream mean that someone else is getting hurt in the process? I know that sounds like a bit extreme, but like, I want my kids to follow their dreams as long as their dream isn't to live on the other side of the world away from me. No, then you don't follow your dream. That would hurt me. So maybe that's my example.
That's the girl who moved to the other side of the world.
Yeah. My parents didn't know an asterisk existed, so they didn't know not to tell me to follow my dream. But yeah, I mean, it is true. My husband and I talk about that all the time. We're like, how would we be if our kids do this, the same stuff that we've done to our parents, right? And I mean, and not done to, but it does affect, even living out here on the East Coast when all of my family is back in the Midwest, right? It's it's hard. And so, maybe follow your dreams means that, I don't know, it's funny, Brandee, because as I'm starting to say, I have an asterisk, I'm like, but no, they should just follow the dream. They should just follow the dream.
Stop them from doing that. Having kids that go to college several states away, I always joke, who told these kids that they could do anything? And who told, who taught these kids to be independent? But realistically, yes, I wish they were geographically closer, but at the same time, I wouldn't ever stop them or, I don't hold anything against them. And I think I would like to believe it would be the same way if they got a job in some really cool place and had an opportunity to explore. I mean,
yeah.
Well, then their adventure becomes your adventure. And then you can perhaps follow some of your dreams. So I realized watching my mother and father-in-law how their world got so much bigger because they had kids. They came out and they helped us build our house. And they were doing all sorts of things they'd never done before. And then they would go back to New York and they would tell their friends about all these wild adventures they had. So when we were building our house, of course, we had a porta potty here, and how the porta potty fell over in a huge windstorm. And fortunately, nobody was in the porta potty when that happened. Their world became bigger because we were following our dreams. So for me, the asterisk in this one, it's a tiny asterisk. Yes, follow your dreams, but have a modicum of reality. So if your dream is to win American Idol and nobody has ever told you you can sing well, and in fact, you've gotten feedback that you cannot, then sure, follow your dreams, but know that your dream might not come true. And the other asterisk I stick in this one is my experience says for following my dreams, it's way easier to follow my dreams when I have fewer responsibilities. So way easier to follow my dreams before I had kids, because it was me, myself, and I. And we could do whatever we wanted. So I think the more responsibilities you have, the harder it is to follow your dreams. And the more curveballs life throws at you, more responsibility that you were not anticipating, it makes it more difficult, depending on what that dream is. If your dream is quitting your job and going in an RV to go play pickleball around the nation, then it might be a little bit hard to do that.
I'm going to have to really think about this, because all during this conversation, I have so much rebuttal for putting asterisks all over this one. And I'm really having a hard time coming up with the reason why I would put an asterisk on it. I mean, I help people follow their dreams.
Yeah.
A lot of times, right? And I loved what you said about I don't know, you used the word modicum. I don't know I don't know exactly what that means. I inferenced what it meant.
But a bit.
A bit, yeah. There needs to be a plan, maybe, when you follow your dreams. Or if you can't sing and you want to follow the dream, great, but you get that
thick skin on. Self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as your parent, at some point, maybe it would have been my responsibility to name what was being seen. Because there are limitations. There are limitations. If you are 5'3", you're probably never going to be an NFL football player. And I think my perspective comes from, when has it been a disservice for someone to have been encouraged to follow their dreams, and never have heard, but here are the limitations. And this sounds so Lutheran theology. We are always God, take the good with the bad kind of thing, or the bad with the good. So, wow, we're going to get through one. I have all of my next episodes geared up to go for the next quarter. I think this does a disservice when people are struggling. And you cannot, or at least in my personal experience, let me say that, when our family has been in deep, deep, deep struggle, if someone had said, follow your dreams, I would have been like, I'm going to punch you in the throat. We're getting through today, and that's not a dream. It's just what we need to do. Brandee, it looks like you are you've got a lot to share.
I don't know what I have to share. I'm just soaking it all in. Yeah. I mean, I think follow your dreams just as a statement. I don't see an asterisk with that. When you talked about someone who's 5'3" isn't going to make it in the NFL, their dream won't be realized, but think of everything they would gain and learn in pursuing that dream.
Yeah.
There is an element of, you have to have dreams that are within reality if you're a horrible singer and you're pursuing American Idol. But same thing, you're going to learn from that, right? I mean, you'll probably have your feelings hurt ultimately, but that's part of life too. So
And you might still become infamous on those gag reels.
Yeah. I mean, remember that lady from the Olympics, that break dancer?
Oh.
She was following her dreams.
Yeah.
I don't know where she stands now, but
right.
I don't know that there was harm in that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Know.
Well, see, look at how much good conversation has come out of
just one.
How many asterisks? So for those listening, like, would you put an asterisk in follow your dreams? Follow your dreams. Should we go on to the next one?
Yeah.
Round two. This is a blast from the past. 80s, late 80s. It was a poster. Maybe it hung in your bedroom. It had a horse going across a pasture, and there were mountains in the back. And it said, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back to you, it was yours. If it doesn't, it never was. Any asterisks?
Did you have this poster? I'm just guessing based on.
Did I have it? No, because no. I was going to say something snarky about how like we lived in reality. No, but that's not true. Like we set things free and they ran away. You know. They never came back. No, but my friend's sister had it.
Okay. I was going to say, the way you described it, it was like you were living
very
that
familiar.
Yeah. So I love this as a concept. You know, I love that deep spiritual connection. Like this is the thing where like old Yeller comes back, or, you know, you just have such a deep connection with something that it will find you come hell or high water. And I love the thought of that type of connection with a person or an animal.
Yeah, it's interesting that it says if you love something, set it free. Because to me, that doesn't sound like a living thing. But of course, that's what you're talking about, because what else could leave you voluntarily and come back voluntarily? So I have issues with the grammar on this one, I guess. That is my asterisk here.
That's the asterisk. I get it. That's why you need the poster to fill it out. Like it's the horse or the otter or
I've heard this saying. I don't remember a poster, but if we take all of the grammatical asterisks out of this one, I think it's fair. I mean, I had a friend when I was little she should have grown up to be the next like crocodile hunter or something, but she used to mark toads and frogs that we found with nail polish. She would paint an X on their back. And I'll be damned if those things didn't come back night after night. I mean, they must have loved her. I don't know.
Or they couldn't hop very quickly and couldn't get away.
The nail polish created something with their skin.
With their skin. It actually does from a scientific perspective. So that's possible. But I was thinking about an animal as well. My daughter, we adopted this dog. She's a Beagle Lab mix, and she looks more lab than Beagle, which is why we have her, because if we had known she was a Beagle when we got her, we would have never gotten her. But as true to a Beagle and Lab, she is a hunter. And we love her, and we could never set her free because she would not come back, because she just follows her dreams. I'm going to tie all of these colloquialisms together. She follows her dream of hunting that squirrel or mouse or whatever. And then she wakes up from the dream like, oh shit. I mean, that's how she ended up in the pound, right? She was found running free on the street. We know she belonged to a family because she sits and she's not a wild dog. And I really feel that she followed her dream and someone set her free. Maybe they set her free because how she barks and behaves. You know, I'm like, ooh, that would not work for this dog. And I'm saying this all kind of jokingly. I do believe in this saying to some degree, right? Because it's like we can't, like just thinking about people and how we were talking about follow our dreams and our kids. Yeah. Now I'm going to totally just take everything I said before and throw it out the window, because it's the same thing. Like, if we love our children, we have to set them free. We have to let them go, and we have to let them go live in the world with the hope and the prayer that they quote unquote come back, not come back to live with me, but come back in relationship with me, right? In maybe a different way. So I can see some truths in this for me. And also the asterisk for Annie, the dog, because she would never come back.
Yeah. I really like what you're saying there, Jena. And that's what I hope we have with our kids. Like, we've loved them well, that they want to continue having us in their life in a meaningful way, where we're continuing to do life together. So, yes. Okay, let's go on to our next one. And these are so common that when I was typing each one of these out, autofill just finished them up for me. Finished them up. This one is very popular right now. It sounds like a frozen treat you could get. It, to me, sounds like frozen yogurt a little bit. YOLO. You only live once. Does this get any asterisks from you ladies?
I think this one does have a small asterisk, because you do only live once, but you have to assume you're going to live tomorrow or next week or next month.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes YOLO is used to justify actions or behavior that may not represent the best choice that we're making. So as long as you can remember that you have to face the consequences of that choice, then absolutely go for it. But this one does have that small asterisk for me.
I'm with you on that, Brandee. Like, I love the reminder that our time is limited. I love the reminder to use it wisely, to reflect on how I'm living and not just float on the surface and get to the end of my life and say, oh, I wish I would have. I regret I didn't. And I'm going to have those. I don't anticipate I won't, because I already think of things like, oh, I wish I would have made that decision earlier in my life. Like, I wish I would have made that jump earlier, but I take the learning and apply it now. My asterisk is the same as yours. It can go too far in encouraging us to be irresponsible in ways that might hurt ourselves or other people.
I mean, I'm even thinking back to the episode that we just did on the goals, right? Yeah. And my example of my financial goals. And, well, it's just you only live once. Yeah, it's just Starbucks, right? Like, speaking of Annie the dog, she is like attacking me right now, like, literally climbing on my chair. I'm pushing her head down. So if I sound a little distracted,
go free, Annie, go free.
I'm going to set you free today, Annie. But I think it's a great example of that, where it's like, well, I only live once. I'm going to go ahead and have that coffee, even though it directly interferes with a goal that I've set or something I'm trying to do.
Right.
And that's where the asterisk becomes really helpful, right? Yeah. Like, it helps serve us. Okay. From the wisest teacher of all, Yoda. Who am I to take on Yoda? Do or do not. There is no try. When Yoda says this, he is training Luke on the Force, and he's giving this sage advice. And I have to say, Luke is kind of a pouty character. He's kind of sulky, and maybe I would be too if I had all this stuff going on in my life that he had going on. But he views mastering the Force as being just too hard. It's too hard to do. He has a defeatist attitude. So he isn't fully committed to lifting his glider out of the swamp with the power of his mind. And Yoda is telling Luke, commit, make a decision. Come on, get with it. So do or do not. There is no try. Any asterisks in this one?
I am not sure how I feel about this one. I mean, my gut is I'm fully on board. I think the small asterisk, again, I'm sizing my asterisks in relation to my thoughts.
Nice. We all got a system.
If the do or do not, there is no try, is going to stop someone from trying something, then of course we wouldn't want that. But I do strongly believe that when you go into a challenging task with the attitude of I'm going to try or I'm going to do my best, that you're already selling yourself short. I remember years ago when I started on commission.
Yeah.
Before I took that role that was 100% commission, I said to Bob, I think I should just try it. And I remember him looking at me and saying, and that's where I have a problem. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I know you can do this. So if you're going to do this and you're going to be a rock star, then by all means, I'm behind you. But if you're just going to try this and see what happens, and in the meantime, we're going to struggle financially, I'm not really on board. And at the time, I thought, dang, that's a little harsh. But through the years, I was so grateful that he said that to me, because I saw so many people come into that business just to try it, and it never worked for them. Mm-hmm. So that asterisk that I see is really, 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 really small, because I think sometimes the fear of failure would prevent us from trying. But I do think you have to be all in most things.
Yeah.
You encapsulated what I was going to say so beautifully, Brandee, right? It's like, I always use the example, if you owe me $10,000 and you're going to try to get it to me by tomorrow, I'm like not feeling real confident I'm going to get that money tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Like even just using the language. And I think that was exactly what I was going to say. I prescribed to, I was just going to say trying to get the word try out of my language, because it is like more victim language. It puts us in a place, just as you said, Brandee, it's like, well, I'm going to try commission sales. It's like, well, when you say that,
are you going to do it?
It's like you're stepping back from the line to even start. Right. And so I love that. I think I agree with you, Brandee, in terms of the asterisk and the same place. I want people to try new things. I try new things, but I'm not coming into it as in like, I'm going to try to do it. It's like, no, I'm going to do it and I'm going to see how it works. See if it gets me the result that I want. See if it's getting me where I want it to go versus trying it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm loving what you're saying. I love what Bob said. That could be a sticker. And that's where I have a problem with it. I love that. In the situation, that Luke was in, it was literally save the galaxy kind of situation. So, the stakes were pretty dang high. I do really love this concept, like commit, but my asterisk, and I'm using more like how many asterisks am I going to give it? So I would give it 1, not 5. 1 tiny little one is at some point you have to know when it's okay to stop trying at something. It just might not be the path forward. It might not be the way you will reach your goal. It might not be how you will become successful. And that is okay. It doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've read the situation and now you're just going to pivot a little bit. You're going to take all of that knowledge. You're going to repackage those skills. You're going to understand yourself differently in that situation. And then you can move forward over here. It's not, you've pivoted. And my other little asterisk, I guess, in this one would be based on having extreme perfectionists in my life. People who have to do things perfectly or it's a huge, huge struggle. So I know they would hear this as a huge cause of kind of stress, I think. So for them, they need the permission to just try. It's okay. It's okay. You just have to try. So there's a nuance, as is true with all of these things. There's a nuance with how a particular person will hear it.
Hey, listeners, on the show, we share a lot of ourselves. And we talk about things that are important. Make-A-Wish is really important to me. The reason that I believe so strongly in this organization is the difference that they make in the lives of not only children, but families of children that are facing critical illness. It is incomprehensible to me that with where we are medically, we still have over 70 kids every single day in the United States that are diagnosed with a critical illness. Make-A-Wish isn't always about a crazy experience for a child. I think everybody knows without a doubt that Make-A-Wish sends kids to Disney, and that's great. But they also do things like backyard makeovers and fishing trips, all different experiences to fulfill the wishes of these kids that are just carrying the weight of so much more. So anyway, I'm asking for your support. If you are willing to give, I sure would appreciate it. We will post a link in the show notes directing you directly to my fundraising page. No pressure, but I would certainly love your support.
An overused strength is a weakness. I have no asterisks for this one. I've thought about it. I think it is very, very true.
Why do you think that's true? I've never heard this one, so I need to settle in a little bit.
Yeah, I think it is true because if we have a strength, let's say our strength is loyalty. We can be so loyal to a company that it harms our family. Maybe we need to switch careers or switch companies, so we don't do that. Or loyalty, played out in another situation. I'm so loyal to my friends. Well, now my colleague that I work with has become my friend, and now that person's made some bad decisions at work, and I'm covering them up. Now that has become a huge weakness. Or if I am super flexible, whatever. We kind of talked about this in different episodes.
I pictured someone doing the splits. Okay, I get it. Flexible.
Super flexible, super adaptable. Again, they might go along with things that actually aren't helpful for them or other people. So that's where I'm coming at with this one.
Yeah. How I relate to this is not even overused, but just any strength can be a weakness.
Yeah.
For me, it depends on, I'll use overachievement. That can absolutely be a strength for me. I love to overachieve. I've loved that all my life. And I think the distinction for me is when am I in the driver's seat using overachievement to drive me versus when is it driving me? And I think, Sarah, when you were talking about those examples with loyalty, right? It's when you're just loyal, it's good because you're driving, you're in the driver's seat. But then when it goes too far, it's driving you.
Yeah.
And so I think being aware and being very cognizant about who's driving this, am I actually in charge of this or is someone else? Is this overachieving because of ego or is it overachieving because I want to go get this thing and not necessarily related to ego, but related to next steps and what I want to achieve or whatever. So I think there's an asterisk for me. The asterisk is, looking at who's driving. Why is this occurring?
Excellent point. Yeah, let's make that distinction. Am I being cognizant of how I'm showing up? Or is it just kind of my default and I'm going to always be overachieving or being loyal or flexible? Yeah.
All right. What else you got?
What else do I got? How about one more? And then we'll save the others for later on. See if you can finish this one. Don't bite off
more than you can chew.
Ding, 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 ding. And Brandee gets it for the win. Do you have any asterisks in this one?
I mean, to me, that screams hold back. And I don't think there are too many situations where holding back is the way to go. So big asterisk for me there. Jena, you're nodding.
Because I can see, knowing you the way that I do, I see how you relate to it exactly in that way. And I kind of feel the same way. I'm if I never bit off more than I could chew, I would have never moved to Singapore. I would have never moved to New Jersey. I would have never, quit my corporate job and become a coach. Like,
right.
I got a mouthful most of the time, right? And it's spilling out everywhere. And so I relate to it very similarly.
That was very visual.
Yeah.
Now that we have video, I don't have to use such descriptive words. But yes.
Yeah. So I'm feeling like, oh, there's a right answer. Like I should be agreeing with you guys. But in my notes, I said 80% I agree with this. Yeah. It doesn't mean there's a right or wrong. It just means different perspectives. And I 100% agree, like go after your dreams. I've done that as much as possible in my life and love adventure and try new things. But the reason I don't give it much of an asterisk, maybe half of one, is know the limits. And not so much if it's just for myself, but being responsible for other people. Like so many of my asterisks come with being a parent. So when I first started my coaching and facilitating business, I was gone a lot. And our kids were, in the beginning, they were in elementary school. And we would only know I had taken on too much when it was too much. Like when we started to see the wheels kind of fall off the bus. And so then when we would see that happening, then I would have to intentionally, scale back, even though that wasn't what I wanted to do, but that's what I needed to do. And so knowing when it was more than I could chew then I would need to take a smaller bite.
Yeah. And I think the distinction there is you could chew it just fine. Just other people around you couldn't chew it. Right. So it's almost like the thing should be, or not should be, but like could be, don't bite off more than the other people in your life can chew.
Don't give them too big of bites. Yeah. Or as you're saying that, Jen, I'm also getting this image of a mama bird. Like how they chew up the worm first, don't they? And then they regurgitate it for their baby. So we are going in all different directions with this one now, which might be a good time to bring it to a close. Yeah. Well, thank you for playing along with our asterisk game. Thank you, Brandee and Jena, for being such good sports about this. And thank you all for listening. Go on our Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and share anything about these particular adages that how many asterisks would you give them? Or if there are other adages that you put asterisks in. Thank you so much, and we will see you in the next episode. It was great to have you here with us today on the It All Asterisk podcast. Please subscribe or follow us to get our latest episodes. And don't forget to leave a review. Remember, when you embrace the asterisks, you shift your mindset and ease your heart.